Okay, it's Thomm and Jen. We're back at AMC again. We just saw Johnny English Strikes Again.
This is kind of a weird choice, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
which we're at the very bottom of the barrel for this month. You know what I mean? And it was the same guy who plays, what was it, Mr. Bean? What's that guy's name?
Rowan Atkinson. And Blackadder, too, if you're old like we are.
And I've never seen Blackadder. Maybe I'm not that old.
Oh, it's funny.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was kind of a spoof on James Bond. I'd probably say maybe from the era of what was the one James Bond from Thunderball and
like Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, like a Roger Moore era of James Bond flick with kind of more modern. Like the villain was pretty modern. Really, you know, the story was very similar to Spectre.
That's what I thought they were parodying specifically, like the way the plot was. Right,
where big tech is becoming a threat to the nation states, which kind of coming true today. You know, they're having problems with Google and everything. But I would say I enjoyed the movie. Wasn't bad.
It's actually quite funny. It's like it's funny in like a British kind of way, where it's like not super zany or over the top. It's more like a sarcastic type of humor.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I don't think I saw the first one. If I did, I don't really remember it. I always liked Rowan Atkinson. I liked Mr. Bean. I liked Blackadder back in the day. He's a funny guy. He's like he's a good physical comedian. Yeah. And he's really good at like cringe humor, where he's just like such an embarrassing person that you kind of like feel bad for him. Like you know so this is kind of like what it would be like if James Bond was a clueless dork who thought he was super slick, and yet somehow still ended up going like ass backwards into everything working out for him in the end.
Yeah, he actually like would get everything done by accident.
Yeah, but like I said, the funniest thing about it is he has no idea like how idiotic and like that he is. He thinks he's like super suave.
Yeah. I think the movie was actually a pretty traditional movie, almost like a throwback. It actually felt like I was watching something from the 90s, which I think that might have been a good thing, because they were trying to be like an old school James Bond movie. But they still tried to keep it fresh enough to where, you know, a modern audience could watch it. Yeah. There was a lot of tropes from Bond. If you're a Bond fan, you might enjoy it.
If you don't mind seeing it parodied.
Yeah, but in a way, it's also kind of honoring it in a certain way, because they did make Johnny English kind of a likable guy. When he got fired, you felt bad, and then he kind of made a comeback. And it was kind of a triumph of the idiotic man, really. Triumph of the idiot. It wasn't even a common man. It was funny because next to me was like they brought in some kids. They were mentally handicapped, I guess, you know. And from 2 Street, and they didn't understand the humor, but the kid next to me was just like Johnny English, and it was just that same. I was like, chill out, man, it's gonna be all right.
Well, maybe he was relating.
Oh, he was very excited about it, you know. I guess I don't know. Maybe he thought he's getting mad. Maybe he thought he was making fun of him. I don't know. But would this be a movie that I would go pay to see? Probably not.
I probably actually didn't even know this was playing, and then we were just kind of like scrolling through, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "Oh, Rowan Atkinson." I didn't even know there was another one of these out, because I haven't seen a Mr. Bean movie in a long time. Like I saw some of the old ones back in the day, I think, but I didn't, and I don't think I saw the first Johnny English.
I think I would have enjoyed this. I would have enjoyed this movie more watching it at home, drunk. Especially if I was able to stand up and go ass full of shit and laugh at it and tell us,
this is a good sitting at home in your room drunk.
Yeah.
Because it is like it is very funny. Like I liked a lot of the humor. It's like nothing unexpected, really. Like you said, it's very traditional.
Very traditional.
Very traditional British comedy.
And it's almost kind of like a traditional spoof flick. I mean, you know, there's a lot of like shit from Airplane. You know, that same kind of vibe. Remember the old Airplane series?
Like a Zucker.
And then the old what was it, like Police Academy? Almost like that.
It was kind of like that.
Like that.
And like I said, I liked too. There's like not only do they use like the same kind of plot as Spectre with like the tech giant like trying to take over the world with all the data and stuff, but they also had that thing with the newer Daniel Craig James Bonds, where it was kind of like old school field agents versus technology.
The new guy, they had that.
So they kind of played that up a lot too, because you know Johnny English, he had been retired many years ago, and so he was very old school.
Yeah, they're bringing him back out of retirement.
He didn't have a cell phone. He didn't know how any of that shit worked.
That's why I said Roger Moore, because he's kind of more like a Roger Moore era
Right, like coming into the modern world,
right?
Like it's like a fish out of water.
Yeah, and it still kind of worked, but only by accident.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, it was alright.
The only thing I can say about it is those I probably wouldn't have paid full price to see.
Yeah, I don't think I would have either, just because movies are very expensive. But like you said, I think
some at home while you're drinking.
Yeah, it would have been totally hilarious. Like we would have sat there and drunk and just.
And you know, I like James Bond, I like Mission Impossible, and I enjoyed this. I didn't think it was goofing on it to the point to where it was an insult. It was, I think it was kind of paying homage to it.
Yeah, it definitely was. It wasn't mean-spirited.
No. It was trying to actually kind of be the genre in a jokey way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go. We can call it quits. I think we covered it.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so we're back at it again. We're at AMC. We just got done seeing one called Hunter Killer, which I would probably describe as kind of like a military disaster movie. You know those disaster movies, you got people in control rooms and they're all yelling and screaming because something bad's going on, and even though they're thousands of miles apart, there's somehow some kind of a relationship between them. It was a movie like that. Kind of take a Tom Clancy flick and throw it in with a disaster movie and maybe like Mission Impossible, and that's what you got. It's got the guy who played Leonidas from 300 was in it. He was like a submarine commander. Gary Oldman was in it. He played some kind of high-ranking naval guy.
Head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah, and it's about a what do you call it? A coup happening in Russia, and the United States gets mixed up in it, and the Third World War almost kicks off. Lots of fake military accuracy, lots of military jingo that only civilians use. Lots of shots of a bunch of different weapon systems in the same frame. Like, you know, you'll have a frame with like 2 submarines in it and a bunch of flying torpedoes, entire fleets of ships, guys they called special operators, which I don't know what a special operator is. They never did name them. I guess that's just something civilians use. I guess they were a SEAL team, but wasn't a bad flick. The acting was all right. It was just it gets old. I thought after a while, you know, they're trying to keep you way up here in terms of tension. And it's like that for about 2 hours. So after about an hour into it, you start getting kind of sleepy. What did you think?
I didn't mind it. It reminded me very much of like an 80s or early 90s kind of Cold War type thriller, like for Red October or something like along those lines.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fantastic movie, but it was...
Well, it wasn't bad.
You know, it kept me entertained. I wasn't bored or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it did actually move along. The plot moved along, and there was like all kinds of setbacks, and you're like, oh no, they're all going to die. And all
it felt like a disaster movie to me.
It really did, yeah. It really had a lot of that to it, and I thought it was kind of cool because most of it was set, you know, inside a submarine, so it's like you have that claustrophobia issue, and it's like, you know, you can't maneuver and all this other kind of stuff, and there was like, you know, people were shooting missiles at him and shit, and you know, I don't know. I thought it was pretty entertaining for what it was. It's just like pretty much like a standard '80s action movie.
Yeah, it was. You know, it actually
it was like a throwback.
The format was very, very traditional.
Yeah, it was a traditional like '80s action movie.
Which actually, that was the right call.
It was. I thought it was a good
direction
to go in. Actually,
for me, I'm surprised that you liked it. For me, being ex-military, I see these kind of movies and I kind of get bored with them kind of quickly.
Well, it's like I didn't love it, but it's like I wasn't like I said, I didn't fall asleep. I wasn't bored. It's like it kept me interested through the whole running time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, would I want to see it again? Would I buy it? No. But it's like, you know, it was an entertaining.
The drawback with these kind of movies where they're trying to have realism in them is that having military experience, you know that actual military situations are not this exciting.
Well, yeah, but if they had if they had that in a movie, everyone would be bored.
Well, that's why I like in a lot of military movies. I like fantasy. I like. I don't like it to try to sell itself. You know what I mean? Like Expendables. Yeah. Expendables is pure action. a lot of fun, you know.
Like I said, you know, movie in real life, it's
right. But when you start getting into where they're trying to do realism, like with some of the Tom Clancy movies, to me, it doesn't really, the tone kind of doesn't really work well for me. Well, but you know, like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. I think they did a good job on it. I think the acting was good. Just for me, I just kind of get tired of these movies after about a year.
Well, there are a lot of movies like this.
Yeah.
It's not like anything new. It's not original. Right. It's nothing you haven't seen before. Like I said, especially if you like 80s action movies or early 90s type action movies. It's very much like that. It's formatted very much like that. Yeah. But like I said, the acting is good. It was interesting. Yeah. It kept me entertained for however long it was. So, you know, you could do worse.
I actually think that this movie probably would do okay. I think it'll...
Yeah, I actually saw, like, reviews of it. Like, I don't read reviews, but I saw, like, the percentages. And the percentages were, like, half and half.
About half and half.
People were like, yeah, it's all right. Which is about what we're saying.
I think, there's a market for these movies, though. And you looked at the audience. Yeah. In the audience today, it was a lot of old guys. Yeah. Old retired guys, fat guys. Yeah. Yes, they love this shit. All right, so we're going to call.
That'll do it for today.
Okay. Okay, should be going.
All right, so it's our third movie of the week.
Yeah, it was the last one.
AMC Stubs A-list program.
Right.
Today we saw Smallfoot.
Yeah, tomorrow actually we found out Suspiria's gonna be playing, so she's.
I'm so excited! Yeah, I'm really excited because I was really crabby about them remaking Suspiria, but I've heard this is really good and it kicks ass, so we're gonna go see that tomorrow. But this is the last one of this week. Like I said, we're kind of getting to the bottom. Like a lot of the movies that we had to see like in October like have been playing for a while, and actually, even though Tom's like, "Oh, the kids movie," but I was like, I kind of wanted to see this because
it was the last one on the list, so we went ahead and did it.
Because I have to tell you, like the premise for this movie, I love it. It's just like there's a village of friendly Yetis, and they live up in this way, like high up in this mountain, and they don't know that humans exist.
Yeah, and they had this kind of like this hokey religion that kept them, you know, on the top of this mountain and not believing this kind of stuff. And at first, I kind of thought it was going to be kind of one of the vapid story of kind of like, hey, you know, question religion, like that's all right, whatever. But it turns out later on, there's like a twist to it. The guys that are practicing or preaching this religion knew. They knew that none of this stuff was true, and it was a means of self-defense because millennia before they'd almost gotten wiped out by the humans.
Right. So they were trying to stay away from the humans and not let anybody know that they
so they were believing in a falsehood for their own advantage, for their own protection.
Right.
But to make a long story short, now there's a human involved in this, and he's like a nature guy who owns a nature show.
He's kind of like a Steve Irwin type.
Yeah, right.
He either had a British or Australian accent. I couldn't tell exactly what it was trying to be, but so he's... The funny
He's
thing
trying
is,
to get good ratings.
Yeah, and so like so that was very funny, that whole aspect of it. So one of the Yetis, whose name is Migo, he's like the main character, and he sees a human, a Smallfoot.
Right.
And of course nobody in the village believes him. They don't believe they exist. And then there's like this whole little contingent of like conspiracy theory, like people that he befriends that believe in the Smallfoot. And there's this whole conflict between them and the village. And it's just... like I said, the writing of it was really cute. It's just it was a really good story. They even had like a couple of funny, like, if you know anything about creationism or about any of the old kind of,
there's callbacks to that.
There was callbacks to that. It's like, oh, it's mammoths all the way down instead of turtles all the way down.
And what are they standing on? You know, if the Earth is being held up by pillars, what are the pillars standing on?
Right, exactly, that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of that kind of little sneaky little things in there. Yeah. Plus, I have to say the animation was beautiful.
By the way, this is a musical.
It is. It's not like, you know, the whole thing is a musical, but there's like 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah, and the songs are pretty cool. One of them was to the tune of Under Pressure.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot, actually. That was like the Steve Irwin guy singing that. Yeah. And the one that the head of the village, like the stone keeper, who has like this robe.
Yeah, he had a real good one too.
He had a really good, I think it was called Let It Lie. Where he was just telling him to like shut up and not question anything.
Why the religion was the way it was.
And when he was like showing Migo the truth about it, and it was all red and everything. But it's like this, I actually really like this a lot. Like for a kids movie,
It was entertaining.
I thought it was delightful. It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I said, animation gorgeous. It was especially really nice on the big screen. Like, really, I'm glad that we actually saw it on the big screen because it was like really nice looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I really
Other than that, there's a new Overlord poster, and we're trying to talk our way into getting some damn posters and like.
I know we're trying to talk to you.
Look at that shit right there.
I want that one too.
Yeah.
I already
Put
told
that bitch in my garage.
He said, we talked to somebody that worked here, and he said, if they have a Siberia one, like, I kind of want it.
Yeah, and he's like,
do you guys just chuck them out or
they
what?
just, we throw them out. I said, we'll give them to you.
Wait, we just throw them out.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, just talk them in.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. I wish they sold those shirts right there. Look, it's got AMC on. Hey, sir, show the audience that shirt, that Creed 2 shirt. Look at this. There's this AMC on the side. We wish you guys would sell those.
Yeah. I don't know. They just told me to throw it on, so
I want one of those with the AMC on the side. That's it.